Hey everyone, all right, welcome back to the table. Let's dive into Fantastic Factories. So here we have Fantastic Factories laid out, it's set up. We have our contracting row, our blueprint row. Each player has their player tableau, 4 cards in their hand, their colored dice. You start with a metal and 2 energy, and then we have these player aids, which are going to break down all the phases and all of the symbols in the game. So I'm going to run you through how the game plays. We'll go phase by phase and I'll show you how all of that works. So during the market phase, in turn order, so we're the first player. We got this really cool robot first player token. I love it. We'll get to choose either to hire a contractor or to draw a blueprint and add it into our hand. Now, if we wanted to hire a contractor, we would need to look at the symbols in our hand and we could discard a card that matches the symbol of contractor we want to hire. So we could discard the fitness center in order to hire the specialist. And then we would gain that specialist ability during the work phase. Additionally, we could draw a card from the blueprint row and add it into our hand. So we have a number of options here. We have more worker spaces. These cards, when they're built into your tableau, are going to give you more options. We have options for converting tokens, so this converts energy into manufactured goods, and manufactured goods are one of the ways that you will win the game. And then there's beacons, which are going to give you prestige points, and prestige points are also another way that will give you victory points at the end of the game. So let's go ahead and hire the specialist. We'll get rid of the fitness center and we'll gain the specialist. So we're going to gain any value anytime during the next work phase. So we can choose to have one of our dice become any value that we want to. When you take a card from the market, it is immediately replenished, so players coming after you can use the card that has just been revealed. After all players at the table have finished the market phase, we go into a simultaneous work phase. Now during this phase, we get to spend resources we've acquired, cards that we have in our hand, and we get to use our player tableau. When entering the work phase, there are 3 options that players will have available to them always. You can always research, mine, or generate. If we were to research, for each die that's placed there, we would draw a card. If we use the mine, we would place a 4, 5, or 6 and we would gain 1 metal. Or we could generate energy, and placing a 1, 2, or 3, that's going to determine the amount of energy that we acquire. So at the beginning of the work phase, everybody rolls their dice, and then we can assign these dice either into cards we've played that we've built, or we can start gaining resources. So looking at our hand, we want to look at what we have available. These cards are training cards and they're going to allow you to manipulate your dice. These are really great for dice mitigation. We have utility cards that are going to allow you to turn your dice into gaining more efficient resources. And so in this instance, we could build, let's put a 6 here. We'll take a metal. So we have 2 metal and 2 energy. We could build the harvester if we had the hammer symbol to discard. So we do not have the same symbol to discard, so we cannot build a building yet. But in another round, if we gain more cards, we could do that. So let's go ahead and draw a card and see what we have. Here we go, trash compactor. This guy looks familiar. So we have matching symbols, so we could choose to build the trash compactor, or we could choose to build the gymnasium. So I'm a fan of dice mitigation, so let's build the gymnasium by discarding the trash compactor, and that's going to cost us 1 metal. So we now have a gymnasium that is built, and we can use this immediately. So we can now choose to pay an energy to give one of our dice a +1. And because of that, we can choose to make that 2 a 3. Now this is important because there's a little matching bonus here on your player tableau. If you place 2 dice on your research, mine, or generate, and it matches a previously placed die, you get a little bit of a kickback. So if we wanted to play the 3 here, we would draw a card. And then if we placed our 3 there again, we would draw 1 card, plus we would gain the matching benefit of drawing an additional card. So we have just refilled our hand with cards that now we can use resources for if we wanted to. So looking at our hand, we have the dojo, which is going to flip something, and we do have 2 dojos. You cannot build the same building twice. So it would be in our best interest to discard the dojo, to pay a medal, and to build this one. Now these are not worth any prestige points. So at the end of the game, those aren't worth anything. But if we were to build like this production facility, we would gain 1 prestige point for having that in our tableau at the end of the game. So once all players have finished their work phase by using all of their dice, play then continues by discarding down. You can only have 12 resources. You can only have 10 cards in your hand. And then you check for the end game. Now the end of the game is triggered when a player has 12 of these manufactured good tokens, which are made by producing them on some of these cards, or if a player has 10 buildings that they have built into their tableau. Now when that's triggered, players will then play 1 final round, and then you're going to score points. So you're going to score points based on the amount of manufactured goods that you've created and based on the prestige costs of cards that you've played into your tableau. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game is declared the winner. Fantastic Factories is a game that is so streamlined, but offers so many fun decisions to make as you're placing your dice and utilizing your production facilities or trying to gain prestige by building as many buildings into your tableau as possible. There are special buildings that have special abilities that give you more dice. There are utility cards that are going to allow you to more efficiently gain resources instead of just placing them on your tableau. So again, Fantastic Factories is a streamlined game. It plays 1 to 5 players in about 45 to 60 minutes. So if this is a game that interests you, take a look at the description below for a link to their Kickstarter page. And this has been Derek with the Board Game Spotlight, and this has been your preview of Fantastic Factories.